So this was short notice, and it was just through a change in program. Let me tell you about Leighton Baker. He was born in Lower Hutt, lived in both Invercargill and Northland, and attended secondary school in Auckland, so he's got an affinity with both islands. Farmed for a few years before completing a building apprenticeship in Auckland. At age 23, he started his own building business, later moved to Rangiora, where 25 years later he still runs his building business. He also spent 6 years as a trade tutor. He's 50 years of age, 50? Married, 4 grown children and 4 grandchildren. He's married to his wife Sue, who I think I saw, and has, yeah, we got that. Prior to his involvement with the Conservative Party, he was involved with the Kiwi Party, and he has stood as a member of the Conservative Party in 3 elections. And I know you're saying, hang on, they've only been in 2. Well, there was a by-election, wasn't there? Yep. Thank you. So, Leighton, in just our very short time, let me just sum up the Conservative Party. They're opposed to redefining marriage. They're opposed to decriminalisation of abortion, marijuana and euthanasia. They're opposed to the anti-smacking law, gender theory and prostitution. They support parental notification, support a SIFS complaints authority. They want to raise the drinking age. They want binding referendums. They want G-rated billboards, regulation of loan sharks and pokie machines, and an expert panel on harms of porn. They think that marriage and strong families are the foundation, and many of our social issues stem from breakdown of the traditional family. Does the Charities Commission know about you guys?
We're keeping very quiet.
So what I can surmise from that is that the Conservative Party agrees with everything Family First says. So, maybe it's the other way around, I'm not sure. So, to be honest, I want to pass over the policy questions and I want to ask some tough questions. And I'm sorry about that, but we've only got limited time. And so these are the questions. Isn't the Conservative Party really just the Colin Craig Party? If you look at Twitter, he's still the leader. And so isn't it just like Gareth Morgan's Top Party and Kim.com's Internet Party?
Yeah, absolutely not. And I can tell you the reason why. The Conservative Party was set up because of the lack of democracy through binding referenda. And we got behind it because we really believe that New Zealanders need a choice in politics. They need a choice of what happens in between elections. And that's what our binding referendum policy does. And that's not related to one man. One man funded it, one man put all his energy and time into it, but a whole group of people got behind it because we believe in it. And you just cited what we stand for as far as our policies go. We honestly believe that the foundation of every healthy society is the natural mum and dad and the natural family. And we know that the pillars of society are the multi-generational family. And we're the one party that's saying that, because if you look at all the ills that are facing New Zealand, they stem from the breakdown of that family, and it is vitally important to New Zealand. It's not about one man, it's about a group of people standing up for what they believe in, and that's your role this election too. What do you really want for New Zealand? So since the last election, has the brand been damaged? Oh, absolutely, incredibly so. And the big question for us is, why don't you change your name? I'll tell you why not, because we're not going to run away and we're not going to be beaten up and we're not going to be subdued. We've had enough of people yelling abuse at us and trying to make us shut up, and we're not going to, because the families are too important for us. And so, no, we're the Conservative Party, we have conservative beliefs and we're going to stand by them, and we're not going to be called to quiet. Some people might argue that, look, wait until the stain of the legal proceedings around the previous leader go away. What would you say to that? Mate, did you just listen today? You know, euthanasia is knocking on our door. The legalisation of cannabis is destroying, well, will destroy young people. The people in our party work with young people all the time. We see the harm that drug does. We actually can't wait. It's actually too late already. We need to be on happening now. I mean, that's what you're doing and we really appreciate it. But really, New Zealand needs a Conservative voice in Parliament to stand up for families, and that's what we intend to be. So why do you think the party is polling so low? I think, you know, look, 1 to 2, you can't always go on polls, but why do you think that is? Oh, in fact, perhaps I could ask this question which came through on the text. Why do most people not know the Conservative Party exists? When will they appear in the media? Okay, so I'm not a journalist, so I don't get to dictate that. The journalists that have contacted us aren't really interested in our policies. They want to know what personalities, and when they do talk about us, it's all to do with Colin Craig and not about our policies. So all that we put out is on social media, and we'll continue to do that because, unfortunately, the general media in New Zealand can't really be trusted. And I'm sorry to say that. There are some good politicians, but there are some good politicians. There's some good journalists, but unfortunately I've seen some that actually, they lie. And that's really sad. So our message is going out by social media, and we've just got to keep plugging it, and we will continue to plug it.
Just tell us a bit about yourself, because like I looked at the list, in 2011 you were 12th on the list, last year you weren't even on the list.
No, I'd signed a big contract in Christchurch, I'd committed to it, I couldn't walk away from it, so I said I'd stand and represent the party and make a voice heard, but I couldn't really go to Parliament because I'd let down the clients I had. I was committed to what I'd already said I'd do.
So, in terms of your qualifications, who's Leighton Baker?
Yeah, I'm a New Zealander, same as you guys. I firmly believe that politicians are elected to represent their people, the people in their electorate, the people that choose them. That's what their job is. As a builder, I just cannot go onto someone's site and whack a house up and say, there you go, they won't pay me for it. They want me to do what they ask. They want this colour roof, they want this style of house, they want these walls. You employ the politicians to do what you ask. And they don't have to be Albert Einstein, they just have to listen. And they just have to be obedient. And so any one of you is qualified to do that. And so am I, simply for that reason.
What are the top 3 policies, would you say, of the Conservative Party?
A binding referenda probably is our top one. And the reason for that is we really believe the people of New Zealand aren't idiots. We don't believe that 120 people in Parliament are smarter than the rest of people in New Zealand. So we believe binding referenda is a veto on government. And it should never actually have to be used. Surely if the government was going to propose a law and we all said we don't actually want that, they would stop and listen and be obedient. And the reason they haven't done that over all the referenda that's been held is because they're not binding. By making them binding, we shouldn't actually need to have them. That's our first one. Our second one really is about family. It's about trying to rebuild the family. Look, consecutive governments have actually really harmed the family. They've disempowered marriages, they've disempowered parents, they've legalised prostitution, they've done nothing about pornography. And this degradation of family actually is why you see so many young people in trouble, why you see so many youth suicides, why you see so much child abuse. It all comes down to that breakdown in family. So our big push is for family. It's educating young people. It's educating young people about what it means to build and develop and maintain a healthy relationship. It's empowering families through some of the legislation you've spoken about, which is income splitting, etc. But it's actually, we need to value families so people understand what it means to grow up in a healthy society. And our third one is on justice, really. We really believe in New Zealand at the moment we have been incubating criminals rather than reforming citizens. And so we've got a strong justice policy. It really does look at prevention being the best form of cure, but after that, what can we do so that when people come out of prison, they're better attributes to society, and there's things we can do, and so our justice policy is pretty strong too.
Can you just explain the referendums? How would that work? I mean, is it 50%? Do you have to go out and get the 320,000 signatures? How do you bring about a referendum?
I originally got into politics with a guy, Larry Baldock, I don't know if anyone knows, but that guy was almost insane. He spent about 18 months of his life getting enough signatures to get a referendum on the anti-smacking bill. 18 months. Mortgaged his house. Unbelievable. And he got the referenda, non-binding, so it didn't go through. To me, that's unjust. No Kiwi should have to do that. Anything that you're passionate about, should you have to mortgage your house? Should you have to work 18 months? I don't believe that's right. So our policy is you have to get 5% support of the people that voted last election. So that's 5% of whoever voted last election.
That's and then about 150,000 signatures. About
150,000, so more than halves what you have to get now. And then what we would look at is, when it comes to vote, 66% support from those that vote in the referenda.
Can it be vetoed by the government?
Not our one, no. We're the only party that says it's up to the people of New Zealand. I don't want to bag other parties, but I know that New Zealand First, they do have a binding referenda policy, but they still retain the right to veto it, which is almost a Clayton's binding referenda.
Okay, well, we'll find out about that shortly.
Yeah.
What about, can we have a referendum on making the tax rate 2%?
I come back to what I said before. The people in New Zealand aren't idiots. They're never going to do that. People aren't going to sign up to it, support it. And that sort of argument is actually it's insulting to most New Zealanders, I think.
Just the prison policy, just tell us a little bit more about what you're saying. I mean, you're talking about rehabilitation. How's that work?
Okay, so, I mean, we've got a whole lot of steps we want to put in place to stop people going to prison, because that's sort of like the last place. But when they get to prison, we'd like a 3-stage sentencing. First stage is you're actually working while you're in there. So you're working in prison, and it may be cooking the meals or cleaning or growing veggies for the prison, but you're working, and you have to be engaged in that to move to step 2. So if you refuse to engage in step 1, you never move to step 2. This is putting personal responsibility onto prisoners, okay? So they need to make a choice. Do I want to do it or not? If they don't, they can't move to stage 2. And stage 2 is education. So for every single prisoner, an individual education plan. There's a lot of people in prison who have suffered with drugs, mental illnesses. Their education plan may not be that high. For other prisoners, it may be tertiary education, it may be skills, it may be getting a degree. But every prisoner gets an educational standard that they need to achieve. Once they've achieved that, so that's stage 2, they've got to first engage in work, second engage in education, third stage is open prisons where they go out of prison to work. They still reside in the prison at night, but they go out to work. And the reason for that is they get to relate with other people in the community. The problem we've got now is you can finish your sentence and go out the door to prison and it's changed in 10 years or 8 years. And really you've got no support, no backup, no social skills, and you're going to end back in. Our system is you actually work outside of prison. The money you get helps pay for what you're doing in prison. It's miles cheaper to get someone in an open prison system. They support, they learn, they interact with people, they learn social skills, they see what's happening, and when they finally finish their sentence, theoretically they should be much better members of society. But if they fall over, if they stuff up, if they choose not to engage, they go back to step 1. So there is no you get out in 6 years. If you don't engage, you don't get out in 6 years. It's your choice. And that I think is personal responsibility, and I think that's really important.
Just one question I had about the referendums. One of the criticisms of referendums is that it's mob rule and that actually it could backfire. You know, like people say, look, do we want a referendum on euthanasia at the moment? Because the polls suggest 75% support euthanasia. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I had that question asked me this morning, and it's a great question.
Thank you.
Do you want... Yeah, that's right. Do you want democracy or not? Or you want to select democracy like the politicians that we have now? That's the question. For me personally, I believe if we have democracy, we have democracy. The people of New Zealand have the right to choose. And I think that you'll see from even what you watched today, that when a poll says 70% support it, they support it on a very biased question that is emotionally loaded. But I think once we talk to New Zealanders, and New Zealanders understand what euthanasia means, they won't support it. But at the end of the day, do you want democracy or not? And as soon as you start selecting what people can or can't choose, then you haven't got democracy.
How many electorates are you going to have candidates in?
Can't tell you a firm figure for now. We're looking at 20 at the moment. But just to let you know, we're really trying to push Manukau. We've got an awesome candidate there called Elliot Ikele. He's been a youth worker in the area for like 15 years. He lives in the area, he breathes the area, and we're really going to push from there because we believe he could make a huge difference in Manukau, and we're excited about him.
What about membership? How's the membership?
Membership, not as high as it was 3 years ago. I don't know if any of you can understand why. Maybe. But it is growing. So we're well over 1,000 people membership, and it's still growing, which is really exciting.
Would you work with a Labour-Green government?
I could work with any government. They'd probably just have to change most of their policies.
Have you talked to Bill English, Winston Peters?
No, although I did see Bill English at the Certified Builders Conference. Yeah, but I don't know if that counts.
Why not go into partnership with New Zealand First?
We've got to stand up for our beliefs and our values, and so we're not actually partnering. We've had a few other parties approach us about partnership, but we believe we've got to stand for what we believe in, let the people of New Zealand choose. If we have an option for a voice then we would negotiate, obviously, after the election. But we've been asked by Conservative people in New Zealand to stand for Conservative values, and that's just what we've got to do.
So if the polls are correct, you get 1 to 2% in the election, is it time to pack up the tent?
Yeah, if we're quitters, if we've got no backbone, yeah, we'll just roll over and disappear into the ground, like, yeah, if that's what you want. But no. No, because it's actually bigger than us. You know, you ask the one-person party, no, it's not. I'm the leader now, but we're actually building a party that will go long past me, long past any of our board, because New Zealand needs Conservative voice. I truly believe that. So, yeah, if we don't get in this time, never mind, we would have learnt, we would have grown, and we'll be stronger next time. Although, like I say, next time, will we have lost some battles that we really need to win now?
And so coming up to the election, you're on 2, 3% maybe, 4% if you're going really well. Is that a wasted vote?
I firmly believe the wasted vote is when you don't vote for what you really believe. If you vote for a party that doesn't actually represent you or doesn't represent your beliefs and they go in, did you really win? Or have you actually supported something you don't believe in? So my challenge to everyone is when you vote this year, you need to vote for the party that truly represents you. Because if everyone says, oh, it's a wasted vote, then, yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you vote for what you truly believe in, then you can make a change in New Zealand. But that's your choice, not mine. I know what I'm doing. I know where I've put my skin, my money, my time. It's up to you to believe, what do you really want? What sort of New Zealand do you want? And you get to choose at this election. And I mean, we'd obviously love your support. That would encourage us, build us up, motivate us, but it's your choice. And I just challenge you, what do you really want? And that's what you need to vote for.
And show our appreciation to the Conservative Party leader, Leighton Baker. Well done, mate.